Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kansai Collective. We will be stopping in with
Jeremy Blaustein.
Jeremy Blaustein. If you guys saw some of our original videos, you know we had Jeremy on here a long time ago. So there's been a lot of change at that point. We talk about a bunch of stuff, working in Japan, game translation, some of the stuff with Jeremy's company, getting a business going, and really just Japan life in general.
Kansai Kollective. West side of Japan, we out here coolin', Zane and Nessa got connections. We know you got questions. Ain't no need to worry, got you covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of the Kansai Collective. As always, it's Asa Questenberry, joined with me to the right.
Your boy Zane, live in the Kansai.
Live in the Kansai. If you guys have been liking our content recently, feel free to head over to our Patreon and some of our other accounts. Support us so that we can grow the channel.
Support.
Keep bringing
We
you
need
guys
that.
some of the love from Kansai. The more you guys can get involved, the more we can kind of bring you really whatever you want to see. So instead over, we'll throw down some links in the comments below for our Patreon and other stuff. You can
For our
support us.
old fans, or our fans that have been here since
Quite a
the
bit.
beginning of time.
You might
since we
recognize.
started, yeah. You see, there's a familiar face.
Joining us again,
Who are you,
the
handsome
man,
man?
the myth. Welcome back.
Thank you, guys. Things have changed quite a lot.
Yeah, no, he's not lying.
Quite a lot.
Seriously.
You guys were like talking through like Dixie cups before with the strings attached.
All right. Yeah, no.
Guys, we're joined with Jeremy Blaustein. Blaustein?
Blaustein. It's
Blaustein. Blaustein.
You pronounce
It's like
it
the Bernstein Bears.
Incorrectly. Exactly. Yeah. There was
Blaustein.
I could have sworn it was Blaustein.
Sure,
Blaustein
you're
when I
like,
was a kid.
Exactly. If you guys, have, like Zane said, you've been
yeah.
here from the beginning. We interviewed Jeremy quite a bit ago when we were stopping by Paul's
Kobe,
place.
yes. Yep.
Alchemy out in
Alchemy.
Kobe. Yes, we got
Thank
some
you, Paul.
outdoor. Thank you, Paul, for this space. But yes, we've come quite a long way since then. So what do you think, Jeremy? What do you
What do you
I
think of
think
the
about the
space?
space?
You know, it's an amazing space. It's you guys also, I have to say, you know, are so much more I don't know, like laid back and professional now.
Ooh,
Yeah, you
Thank
know,
you.
I
you
like
got right
that.
into it too. I mean, I remember when we
Flick
did
the
it
hair.
before. You're like setting up, and you're like, "What are we going to talk about?" And you got your notes and all that thing. And,
yeah,
you know,
we
now you
did.
just like jump right into it.
We've got a little
Pros.
bit
Level up.
level up, little by little. Yeah.
Plus, you're talking
Mario
like
Swag.
this, like these
gotta get
mellifluous
the-
tones. You got to get the radio voice.
He knows the name of it too. Yeah, it's called the radio voice. Have you read? Oh, I gave you the book. Yeah. Never Split the Difference.
Loved it.
He talks about
Definitely
the
buy
radio
it.
voice all the time.
Yes. Buy that
For example,
book.
if I talk like this, you know, it's a little bit easier to listen unless I talk like this, which kind of drives people crazy at home. So the radio voice is
Yeah,
his
it's kind of a
necessity.
casual NPR kind of. A
So
vibe
now
to
we got a space in Osaka, Honmachi, and now also Jeremy is not living in Himeji.
Yeah.
Where you living at, big
it.
fella?
Yeah, I'm a big time Osaka Jin now.
Osaka.
You.
What would you call? I mean, we say Osaka Jin, but what would like a Western, like a Tokyoite is like a person? Would you say Osakaite? Osakaite would
No, they'd say
Osakan.
What's Osaka?
You'd say an Osakan, right? I think
No,
the
they know
A-
Osaka. Osakan, no, that sounds pretty bad.
It does sound
Really?
Osakan.
Osakan? Nah, that doesn't work for me.
But I feel like you're the language guy. Wouldn't you have to use because it ends with an A?
Osakian.
Osakian?
Osakanite.
That sounds like
Osaka.
Osaka night. I like that.
Osaka Knight. The Osaka Knights
Osakanaut.
and Osaka Knights. Love it. That sounds like a nice little podcast episode there. Osaka Knights.
Osakanian.
Osakani. There's a bunch. So Jeremy's joined us. Jeremy is now residing in a nice little
Yeah, I
place
live near
in
Umeda.
Osaka.
Yeah, I live.
Don't dox yourself, but he's there. He's
Hey, it's a
joining.
big place.
How long have you been in Osaka so far?
I moved here, so we're end of July now, so I've been here about 2 months.
Okay.
Right in the middle of the summer.
Cool. How was the moving process? Was it difficult? Was it easy?
Yeah. Well,
Difficult?
yeah.
Challenging.
Oh, no.
Challenging.
Yeah, it
well,
was-
from
As
like,
far as the moving perspective.
yeah.
The moving perspective
Logistics-wise.
yeah, if I'm just talking about the moving perspective, no big deal. It was, you know, it's probably easy compared to many countries. Really amazing, you know, moving service.
I would say Jeremy is a little
Jeremy-
older, so his
Jeremy
income bracket is a little different than ours, so he can handle things
He
like
didn't
that.
have to rent a truck by himself.
Yeah.
And drive down the highway.
That's
Did
true.
you hear that story? of
No,
ours?
I didn't. No.
When Zane helped me move, and I looked at the prices of the moving companies, and I was like, yeah, no, Zane, we're getting a truck.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Like we loaded up a flatbed truck, man, strapped down the tarp, drove down the highway, realized we don't know how to tie down tarps.
Yep.
Blowing off. Japanese people are yelling at us as we're driving.
How did
That's
you
not
guys
true.
rent a car? I mean, rent a truck. I mean,
Dane's got a you
well,
can.
that's right.
Got a
Dane's been
license,
driving
yes.
forever now.
But I think like the normal, what's it, the 5T?
You got a was it a K truck?
Yeah,
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that.
It was
yeah,
a big.
the
It, was,
back-
it wasn't
You know-
a K. It was a big. I mean, it was a
Okay.
truck. Like I mean, we.
But okay, yeah.
Well, it
yeah,
had the
yeah.
pickup vibes, the pickup truck vibe.
Yeah. But you know you should mention something about K trucks. You know because they don't have these in other countries. You know you got to understand about what a
Yeah,
K car is.
For the
and
viewers
then,
at home, Keitra.
yeah,
Have you heard of Keitras before?
or even K cars.
K cars or K
Yeah.
cars. Are there K cars? I thought.
Oh no, K cars is of course there's K cars.
I
And
thought
then-
it was just Keitra. K
No,
truck.
No, K
So
cars
in
too.
Japan, you know, you have two types of cars. The regular cars have dochika, white or yellow. So K cars have white. No, chill. K cars have a yellow license plate.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know
and
the
regular
license
cars have a
plate.
white license plate. So,
What?
and K
Dropping
cars
some
they're limited
knowledge.
to they're limited to a certain size, a certain
Right.
dimension,
Right.
and the engine is
Tiny.
yeah, I think it's like 10 cc or something like that.
It's like a Hot Wheel with a battery on top of it, basically.
But the amazing thing is how well they perform. You know, they'll get you right up to the top speed you're going to go on a highway pretty much. Anything above that's going to be a little dicey.
Right.
You know. But then what I was talking about the trucks, they got these. You'll see things that look like trucks, but they're actually K cars. So they got these tiny little engines, but they're trucks. And they perform, man. They drive really well, and you
Put some rice in the back of it, up the mountain, and you're good to go.
They run on rice.
They run on rice, exactly. I didn't realize that was license, like the license plates were related to that.
It's very
at all.
cool. You
man, I
you
didn't
buy a
know either.
bento, you buy a bento, and if you have any left over, put it right into the tank.
Toss it in the engine and
Very economical.
Very sustainable.
heading right up the hill. That's hysterical.
Yo, did you know like this like Mito Suji line, right? The stops on the Mito Suji train line are the same as the street. So if you know the train line, you can know the
street you're on?
yeah.
What do you mean?
Like so
Like
you
the
have-
intersection is like
so
the cross
like
street?
so you know Mito Suji Sen, right?
Runs
You got
north and south,
like
right?
Honmachi, Shinsaibashi, Namba, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the street. So if you understand the train
So
line,
basically,
you can,
the stations are the cross streets. Because you've got Mito Suji running north-south, right? And that's the name of the line. Mito Suji Street behind us. And then every time it's intersected, that cross street is the street.
No, I don't think so because
Or is the station?
the cross section that is actually a dori. They call it a dori.
Hmm.
They call it dori, and then you have the sujis. Yeah,
And
but
that's
if
how
you
it-
know, yeah, that's how I figure because I ride my bike everywhere now, right? So if I know I'm in Honmachi, right, then and I know the Mito Suji train lines, then I know, oh, okay, then Shinsaibashi is this way, and then whatever is before
It's funny.
Honmachi.
What's also funny, like for people that have never been to Japan, I think one of the biggest, like, oh, I'm not in America moments anymore, at least for me, was like, there's no street signs.
Yeah.
Like, they don't rely on, like, in America, we're like, oh, head over to this street and then go
Yeah.
this way. And like, Japan, you don't, if
People
you're,
talk about intersections more than they talk about streets.
and like when you're meeting your friend, it's always like, oh, what's the closest train station? You meet at the train station. So it's funny listening to like how people begin to work out how they do directions. Like Zane's like, oh, well, I base it off of the intersections and the
okay.
stations when
Yeah.
I'm on my bike. But yeah, because there's no big street sign that lets
Yeah.
you know.
Yo, what have you noticed living in Osaka that's different from like living in the countryside of Himeji? What are you enjoying?
I'm enjoying complete access to everything that you can imagine, you know, basically.
Anything you
know.
need in your day-to-day.
And it's like, yeah, and like you were saying, if, you know,
Well,
I'm not bragging, but I do have a little bit of money now. Things have changed. But
Keep going forward.
so like food wise, right? There's just a plethora.
there's nothing in. I mean, it's the same. It's the same in the States. If you live in the city, everything's around you, and if you're not, I mean, it's like you're either in the city or you're not in the city. I mean, you either walk out your door, and there's like, you know, an Indian place here and a Thai place here, and an Italian place here, or there's not, and then you're either
nothing.
cooking or you're jumping in the car.
Right.
So where I live, man, it's just insane.
The quality of the food, though, how is
So
that?
good.
So good.
So good.
Osaka,
It's ridiculous.
man,
It's
of
ridiculous.
course. It's
Like
so
every time I go to Tokyo too, man, I can tell it's just it's a huge difference. The quality of the food and the price of the food is also different.
What I find in Tokyo, because I mean, like I like visiting Tokyo and leaving as well, but
Yeah, same.
Tokyo's got great food. Well, Tokyo has, I think, like the highest number of Michelin ranked restaurants in the world. But I find what I find the big difference is like Tokyo, you'll get those like super high end famous restaurants, and there's a plethora. Like there's so many of them, but I find the number of small little day-to-day restaurants in Osaka that are just like top tier, I find a little bit better. Because I find in Tokyo, like you get kind of like, not to say bland, but same old, the bento shop, and it's all kind of the same. But Osaka, just the number of like not famous little hole in the wall shops that are just it's night and day difference.
What about the language? You're huge into the language. Can you?
Yeah, well, I always spoke really good Kansai Ben, and it's slightly different in Himeji, but not to the point where people would notice unless you hit one particular word or phrasing that is only slightly.
Are you still actively learning Japanese? Would you say?
I would say no.
Not
Not
studying?
for a long, long time.
Haven't like just
Well, I
been
mean, like,
studying?
are you like constantly trying to up your
I mean,
vocabulary and like?
Yeah, I think so. I still have my kanji dictionary like right within hand's reach, and if I come across something that I don't know or I'm curious about, I look it up.
Just put it right in there. Or check
Yeah,
it
so
out.
I mean, I still have enough curiosity that I'm learning new things,
Right.
but I'm not actively studying in the way that
Well, for our newer viewers and people at home that if you didn't see, go check out our previous episode with Jeremy. It's fantastic. He can give you much more details. But Jeremy, introduce yourself. What do you do, man? People don't understand the depth of what our boy Jeremy gets
come
up
on
to
now.
here.
So I'm I worked in a video game company called Konami back in the mid '90s in Tokyo for a couple years.
Video game company.
And then I left and became a freelance translator of stuff, everything, But then I started getting more and more video game work, and some of the early stuff you might know, like Vandal Hearts and Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Swag.
People love Castlevania Symphony of the Night. SOTN they call it, man. Just look up SOTN.
Drop the big name reveal.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It was a big one, and then I did like Suikoden 2, and then I did, what do you call it in English? Dragon Warrior 7. I did Metal Gear Solid, and Silent Hill series, Shadow Hearts, Valkyrie Profile, tons of games.
Is it DragonBaby or Baby Dragon?
It's DragonBaby.
DragonBaby.
DragonBaby.com.
DragonBaby.
I don't know if this is a bad thing or
That's
not,
my
but
company.
Jeremy also did erotic games.
Did you? You translated that?
Wow.
This is news
This is
to
like
me.
an ambush
That's
interview.
fun.
You did the etchy games as well.
We call them eroge.
Eroge. Is there a
Zane-
lot of content to
Zane,
get through?
What you dropping on me here, man?
I had
My
no
kids
idea.
are watching this.
I had no idea.
Oh, hey,
Kids, stop watching.
You paying
Turn
the
off-
bills.
turn off
That's
now.
how you paying the bills,
I was paying
bro.
So this was before I started DragonBaby. I was doing some real steady work. You got to understand if you.
That's cool.
If
I
you're-
think it's
What an experience.
If you're a freelance translator, your biggest problem is that when you finish a project, you got to have another one in the
When's the
pipeline. It
next
pays
project?
good, but too many hours with nothing, and you
Gonna be
eat up
hungry.
all your profits. So, having steady work is the secret. And clients aren't going to wait for you. Oh, you can't say, "Well, I'm finishing up next month. I'll take your job then." They don't.
They're gonna say, "No, we're gonna go find someone else."
To find someone
well,
else.
we won't jump in the Iraq at all again.
Why? No,
But
I want to know about that. Okay.
if Jeremy's okay with that,
I want to.
I'll just say.
Are they like
I'll just say
text
that.
clickers? What? Are they? You just click through the different scenarios. So you're just providing all the
Yeah.
translations for them.
How was
Yeah.
it translating that?
I
Because
mean-
sex is
Yeah.
the way they
That's
interpret
weird.
sex.
I would
and-
get like kind of horny too. And
oh, like,
like,
the
"Oh,
way
I might
they
have to
have
check out
sex.
this
and-
I'm trying to get into into the character and stuff.
You got
Facts.
gotta-
No,
No, it's true.
it's
You're
just
like,
like
well-
Heath Ledger with the Joker. He had to play the character.
That's
you
right.
feel me?
No
It's
problem.
like I
So-
gotta get into it. That's just
Yeah, no, it's
what
a
would
real,
I
it's a real
say?
experience because you see the whole. Well, I don't want to say the Japanese perspective on because it's twisted. It's
Right.
very twisted, and so you don't want to,
push any stereotypes forward. Or
Yeah, I don't want to push any,
anything.
but yeah, but there's some weird shit in there. Let me tell you that.
Oh, word.
Go,
Oh,
go
yeah.
check out his website. You'll find more comments and stuff.
No,
down there.
we don't advertise the fact that we did Arrowgate on our website. So thank you very much for that.
check out his website for professional video game translation of real games.
That's professional.
Well-
That's real game, but I'm not.
Come on, man, I'm
not
trying-
dissing.
pick a side.
Okay, I'm not dissing Arrowgate. I'm just saying, there's a lot of different. I had to come up with a lot of different synonyms for,
Yeah, that's
for some,
crazy.
bodily
That's so cool.
parts and fluids.
That's awesome, man. I love it.
Well,
The many
Jeremy
experiences.
is now an OG as the translating, and we talked a little briefly on this, Jeremy, how the game has changed and like everybody wants to
Yeah.
be a translator, especially because the game world is like growing at a very fast rate.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
How is so?
Well, so there's kind of a. I'm going to move this thing for a second.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's kind of there's kind of a pipeline, you might say, for foreigners that come to Japan. I mean, can I say that? Pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you want to come to Japan, and most often it's the case that you'll come here and you teach English. And the people that come to Japan, it's like, why are they coming to Japan? Well, mostly these days it's because people are into anime and stuff like that. So they come here and they've already absorbed, tons of anime, and maybe they started studying Japanese a little bit, and they come here, teach English, and then they want to break out of that, and so they the way they study Japanese now has changed too. I mean, there's so many like resources online and applications,
yeah,
apps and
exactly.
stuff like that, and so then the next thing they want to do is they want to be a translator. It used to be that game translators and manga translators and light novel translators and all those translators. It used to be that there was a line between like the professionals that do that shit and the amateurs. But I don't know, a few years ago, it's just somehow it broke out. And
Would you say it's like blurred, like that line?
oh
is
yeah, it's
totally
gone.
blurred?
The line's almost gone, and which has created a kind of a price war, as you might imagine, because there's
Race
so many
to the bottom.
a race to the bottom, a race to the bottom. So it was a good thing that I transitioned, I guess, because at my age, really, to be honest with you, I don't really have the ability to,
Keep up with.
yeah, I don't know how
the
20,
Joneses.
an 18-year-old talks or something like that. Like,
Oh right.
oh
yeah,
shit,
You don't
yeah,
even,
yeah.
Don't even realize like slang changes. Yeah.
Oh
you're
my
like,
God, it
How do I
changes, yeah.
translate yeet?
Yeah, exactly,
that
exactly.
Kid off the
Yeah.
like what? Yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
man. You don't even realize that.
Yeah, I don't want to be like that. That meme that he's like,
The guy with the, is it?
yeah,
oh,
the
we're going back
skateboard.
to
He's
school?
like, yeah,
Yes, I know exactly.
hey there, fellow kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. So interesting. So when you say like you've gotten out of it in a sense, what with your company are you just cashing in on the relationships you've made over time and like getting into some larger projects, or what's kind of, I guess, the current like focus of the company then?
Well,
Or maybe it's a dumb
I'm not even
question.
sure how to answer that.
Yeah.
I mean, a game project you got a game, it's got to be translated. Usually has to be translated into multiple languages. And as a freelancer, of course, I'm limited to my language pair, right? So I do Japanese to English. But the game has got to be done into, Korean, the two Chineses, right? And, French, Italian, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian maybe, Russian, Turkish, Arab, you name it. And so,
And your company, do you guys?
yeah, we do it all,
love it. Check him out.
So how do you get a contract with a game? Like can you just explain the process a bit? Because like you said, you have to translate in all these different languages, and you only have Japanese to English, but your company also offers all the other languages?
Well, you know, Zane, it's like anything else. I mean, you know, if you're a company that makes something, right, then you develop a process for, you know, for creating a product. And this is a product. It's a creative product. It's an entertainment product. So, and that means you have to have passionate people working on it. Translators who are passionate about games, editors who are passionate about, you know, games, who are professional, who know how to use their tools very well. And there's tools, just like any industry.
Well, as far as like bidding, like,
Well,
right?
yeah.
Can anybody
No.
bid?
No,
Or
I mean, 'cause,
Well,
you
that
know,
was my question.
so-
Are you just someone hitting you up saying, "Hey, give us a quote on this," or are they putting out like, "Hey, we've got a tender offer. Send us your quotes," like, and they're just putting like blasting that out to the airwaves and seeing what quotes they get.
It's not. Well, you have relationships with game companies,
Right.
Or we also work with other LSPs, language service providers, translation companies, you might say.
Right.
And we help them. We assist them with, you know, management of projects and things like that. But no, you know, if you take a company like Capcom or something, they're always producing games, and so they always have something in the pipeline. So you stay in contact with them, and you know what's up,
Worked
you know,
out
anything
well
going
versed,
on,
yeah.
and you know, they let you know we got a new project. You know, send us a quote.
Right.
And then it's often the case that they'll ask you to, if it's a big game, a popular series, do a test. You know, and the other companies are doing tests as well. And so,
Here's, give us a little sample.
yeah,
How
a
does it
sample
work
of,
out?
you know, how you would
So
translate
let's
this.
say like I mean, games these days are coming out with massive, like Elden Ring came out and they said it's like
yeah.
80 hours of
Yeah.
game. But let's say like a standard adventure game, you know, you're getting 36 hours of storyline, right? What would the timeline look for your team to put a game like that through translation?
That's a good question. Okay, so I can give you a pretty
Yeah, I'm sure you know.
pretty good idea.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you know exactly.
I would say it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, I'm kind of throwing this out there because I don't know how much voice is in there, right? I don't know how much text is in there based upon your example, but I'm just kind of, you know, guessing.
because it's not even just.
It's
just
based on
voice,
it's
voice
based
as
on
well, yeah.
it's based on text, and then when you have to write lines to be voiced over, those have to be kind of done a little bit more carefully, a lot more carefully.
I bet. Yeah. It's okay. So 6 to 8 weeks, you'd say.
Yeah, I'd say 6 to 8 weeks. I'd put 3 translators and an editor on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many projects like that can your team handle at like full capacity?
Of that type.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what language pairs you are. I mean, if
English,
you said
English,
if you-
Japanese.
all English, Japanese, not so many.
Not so many.
But actually, you know, it's ironic because Japanese is one of the harder pairs to fill, despite the fact that we're in Japan, because it's because Japanese people don't tend to
So you
like
think
the
that-
freelance lifestyle as much as some other countries.
Interesting. So they want like a more corporate approach?
Yeah, you know, a lot of Japanese people like to work with other people in an office, and you know, in the world of game translation, we're dealing with primarily freelancers.
So yeah, so you're involved in a bunch of different game
Yeah.
stuff, translation, any language.
Well, how many?
Jeremy's the man
Wait,
to
so
get
how many
done.
years are you
Oh shit,
in
man,
the league?
I'm going on 30 years deep in my career.
Career in
what-
Japan or just
No,
translation?
no. In my translations.
Right.
life.
So what would you
game.
say is important for longevity? What has kept you in the game and being
Very
able
good
to
question.
I would say
be successful?
self-promotion. No, you know, because it's the truth. It's the truth. I would give this advice to anybody. People are not going to come out and, you know, people aren't going to come out and,
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah,
save
for
your
sure.
ass or offer you a hand, you
Yeah,
know,
you
and
gotta-
they're not going to say, I want to promote you, and they're not going to, you know, and if you're sitting around waiting for, in video game translation, there's this thing that goes on. Everybody wants to be credited, of course, but there's a lot of obstacles to it. Sometimes game companies don't want to throw you in there because more often
They
it's
made
the case
game.
that no, it's not. Usually it's not them though. I think it's the it's the translation companies, ironically, and by that I mean not me, but the large ones, with names that begin with K or L.
I have no idea.
As an example.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
So subtle shots fired.
All right. I'm curious.
So
like,
plugging yourself.
But anyway,
in.
so I was just to finish that thought. So people have a hard time getting their credits on the games, and then they even get bound up by
Legal.
NDAs and sort of unofficial NDAs where the companies will like let you know that, well, you're never going to be working with us again if you
talk about this.
if you say that you worked on this game. So that means that all these freelance translators, they're these invisible little cogs in a machine.
They're the ghostwriters.
And it's hard for them to get a leg up because they can't say what they did, and everybody, of course, wants to tweet it and they want to Instagram it and all that stuff.
So without being able to do all that, to Zane's question, how did you?
I think you have to. At one point, I kind of just am I allowed to like curse because I'm a natural curser?
Don't curse.
Let's
Don't
keep it at
do
a
it.
minimum, but
'Cause we
if
gotta
you feel
bleep
it,
you
then
out
feel it,
afterwards.
then
Are
go
you
for it.
serious?
But
All right.
Have to.
So I said-
YouTube
because we
will
were trying to
take it
make some
down.
income.
Okay, so
on,
I said F it, F it.
Oh,
I said
Yeah, we'll
at
take
some
it.
point.
We'll take
At some
it.
point, you got to say F it, and if people are trying to hold you down, you have to.
Spread your wings and fly.
Well, you got to make a
let him
calculated.
talk, Asa.
You got to make a calculated risk sometime.
There you go. I totally. Thank you. He needs to hear that sometimes.
So yeah, you gotta promote yourself. You gotta look out for your own self interests.
All right, so bro, I'm curious, right? Because like you said, you've been in the game for 30 years and you were doing freelancing, but then I seen you as you were going through the process of starting your own company. Where was it when you were like, okay, I see that I can't keep up with this freelancing game, or like my time has passed. Like, how did you say, okay, boom, I'm gonna start a company?
Yeah, but also you got to understand it's not even my first company. I started, I had, I don't know, it's probably my fourth.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a question of how do you keep it going in a translation field. Just like being a freelancer, you got to keep it going. You can't just get one big job and then But in my case, the first time I started a company was when I got this giant job for Dragon Quest 7. It was like $500,000.
Well, let me. That's dope. I don't want to interrupt what you're saying because you got some fire gems, but
Sponsors? You got
no.
sponsors? Okay.
I'm just talking about like you got a great story going on, but like I want people to understand, like, because I seen Jeremy as he was like starting his current business. Like there's gonna be times as an entrepreneur that you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be in the middle of the ocean, and you're not gonna know
that's
when the
true.
next job is gonna come. And
That's true.
you gotta just keep moving forward and
Yes.
kind of just stay in the present. Don't think too negatively, because usually the universe will help when the time is needed.
Here's what I would say about, I know exactly what you're getting at, and here's what I would say about that, is that, you never know what the results of your actions are going to be. It would be great if we lived in a universe where, you acted in a way and it led you to exactly the result that you want. But we don't live in that universe. We live in a universe, I think, where you still need that activity. And it's kind of analogous to, it's like, I think of it as like, billiards. You got that it's all racked up, you got that pretty little triangle and you smash that thing, but you don't know what ball is going to go in. Not really, unless you're whatever.
Right.
But the more you shake things up, the more things fall out of the tree. So you can't stop shaking.
Gems.
You heard it from
Are those gems?
the sage. Yeah, man. I think a lot of people don't talk about this, and Asa and I going through this ourselves. I think it's overlooked. I think people probably look at you right now, Jeremy, and say, "Oh yeah, he's an accomplished guy," you know. But he did put in the work, and it didn't just come overnight.
No.
It never
No.
does. Never does. Am I okay to talk now?
Yes, you are
Oh,
beautiful.
Thank you, master.
He's picking up.
Thank you, master. I can talk again.
Don't take it there.
Thank you. I've got permission. No, man, it's exactly as Jeremy said though. But I've never had someone like the analogies. What do you call them? Analogies. The analogies he came up with. The billiards one is great, yeah, because it's like you don't know what's gonna come out of it, but if you don't do anything, nothing's gonna come out of it.
Exactly.
Right? Shake more trees, more stuff. Yeah, they're all gems. Very, very good gems, man. But yeah, I mean, I think that's.
I'm a wordsmith.
He is.
He gets paid for this.
He
yeah.
literally is.
I think my favorite quote on like, just to finish that idea on entrepreneurism in that sense is like everyone's an entrepreneur until you can't pay the bills, right? And then that's that moment of being like, well, I just got to try something. I don't know what's gonna come out of it, but I know I got to do something at best, right?
Are you now, because you're an OG in the translation game, are you kind of guiding the younger?
Yeah, I mean, I try to mentor people. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you because I think mentorship is severely lacking and needed in Japan. When you talk about mentoring, are you talking about people in Japan, or are you just talking about because I guess you
No,
can
there's
work
no
with
need.
people-
There's no need for people to be in Japan for.
what you want to actually do, right? They can be based anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any like specific mentorship programs going on right now, but I've always been very open to helping people, and if people come contact me for advice and stuff, I never really turn anyone down as long as they're reasonably polite. I guess I have turned down people who are not reasonably polite.
Right.
People
What's
contact me. They're like, "Hey man, how do I get into translation?"
Hey man, is that in your head? How
In
you
all
read
caps.
every voice.
Yeah, it's like, but seriously, you do get messages. Like, I mean, but that's an important point. I think that, especially with social media now, there's a, I can't remember, they have a word for this about these relationships, these oddly balanced relationships that you have now in social media between, you might have, a famous person, like, I don't know, whoever, right? And you can contact them now on Twitter and whatnot. But it's this over familiarity may cause some people to forget their
Who they're talking to.
social. I'm not saying you remember who you're talking to, but anytime if you're contacting a stranger and you're asking for something, obviously you need to consider the fact that they might be taking their time for you, or it's just manners, and especially we live in Japan, a country of manners. You can't live in Japan unless you. Have you guys talked about that? Because that's like a big thing, I think.
Tell us.
Well, I guess
live in Japan
I would
unless
say that just in general, the Japanese have such a deeper, ingrained, enculturated ability to consider things from other people's point of view. They're always thinking about other people's positions. Are you hot? Do you need a drink? It starts from that, and it goes on to, are you carrying too much? Can I help you? To everything, to every facet of life. And when you're talking to people, you're thinking about their position, so you tend to say thank you more or apologize more, which is the same thing, and just consider.
It's not just solely.
Yeah, consider things from their
inside
point of
focus, right?
view, and so that, going back to what I was saying about politeness, I think that's what politeness is. It's when you think about things from another person's point of view, then you tend to be more polite, don't you?
So you're saying that in the social media day and age,
People
maybe that's
too
lost
casual.
on
They
people.
just think they can reach out and like, hey, I'm a bro, you're a bro, let's be bros.
You do
but-
this, I do this.
I'm a bro. You're a bro. She's a bro. Hey, we're all bros. Hey.
Okay, the new theme song of the Kansai Collective coming to you next week. I'm a Bro by Zane
Put a
Fletcher
little,
Johnson.
put a little beat on that.
What I find, I just to end like the whole social media thing, what I find funny is like I've had people message me, like based in some not Japan, and they're like, they're basically asking for a job, and they'll like message you because you can get a hold of me on LinkedIn or like any of my social media rather easily, and they'll like spell the company name wrong.
That's exactly what I'm talking
And
about.
I'm like,
though. Yeah.
do you think that if you can't even take the time to double check your message for typos, especially the name of the company, like if I'm applying to Sony and I write Sona Corporation, like do you think that will make the best impression? So it's if you lose that, or for some people, like we said, it's the line is just blurred between how it should be approached, maybe.
Or to put it in the vernacular, their mamas didn't raise them right.
Ooh.
No, I mean seriously. I mean, at some
Gems.
point, it comes down to that, doesn't it?
Right. The entitled younger people, assuming they can get whatever
Wait,
they
wait,
want.
don't be putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that.
You heard it here
Dang.
first. He's against the younger generation.
I did not. Say
He wants to keep
like
us keep us oppressed and down. He
Well,
doesn't want to see us up.
Jeremy, you're here in
I'm a gatekeeper.
You're here in Osaka. Enough about your gaming. Thank you
enough
for
about
sharing all of that wealth of information.
You're
What are you trying to get into while you're in Osaka, or is it like since you made that big transition?
No, man, I'm not. These days, I'm really not thinking about stuff like that. I'm getting through days, getting through weeks at a time, and not really. I mean, it's actually such a big transition. Coming here from the countryside. No offense to Himeji, which I love very much, but it is not Osaka. And I lived way out in the countryside at times, on a little isolated island. But
When was the last time you lived in a metropolitan?
I never lived in a metropolitan area before in my life.
Where?
So that's a transition for sure.
Well, I mean, you do karate, right?
Yeah.
You do karate. Are there any things you want to try in Osaka, or like have you visited places in this area that?
Give us your first few month review.
Honestly,
1 to 10, how has it been?
It's been great. It's been a 10. It's
Facts.
been a 10. And yeah, I'm doing stuff all the time that I never did before because I was, like you said, I never lived in a metropolitan area. So it's all pretty new to me. There's nothing like you're saying karate, nothing new in a big sense that I want to do. But just getting, there's just so much in Osaka. It's, you don't even have to plan anything. It's like, just get out there. There's stuff all the time, and fortunately, I got some friends like Zane and Asa here who helping me get my feet wet. Taking me out to cool places. Yeah. Friendship.
Would you say you're
connections.
losing weight?
I would not say that.
Okay, because I had someone move and they like, because you just got to drive so much in the countryside, and they're like being in the city. They're like, I just walk all the time.
I gained a lot of weight recently, so I'm hoping to get rid of some of it.
He's
but
slimming down. Don't let him.
maybe,
fool you.
yeah, maybe I am. Maybe it's so freaking hot though. I can't even leave the house.
Right? Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's just been OD
been
hot.
bad.
Our summer here in Japan has been hot, as we've mentioned, but also the weather is crazy. There was a tornado warning in Nagano yesterday.
Oh, really?
No,
I
you're
was
still-
supposed to go to Nagano for work, and like, yeah, the
It's
weather
everywhere, man.
is
I
not
saw on the news today. It's flooding in Las Vegas. Vegas.
big
flooding.
old Las Vegas underwater.
You know what I mean?
F it.
F it.
Did I?
No.
You did.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
It's all right, Aaron. We'll edit that one out for you. You can take a break. But cool, man. Jeremy, again, I'm sure this won't be the last time. We like
That's
to.
a fact.
He's our. He lets us know how far we've come just by being there in the very beginning.
Where will Kansai Collective be next year? Dun-dun-dun.
Hopefully
be
with
fire.
some chairs that don't
Squeak.
squeak the whole time.
Hey, man, it's a process, bro.
Step by step. Speaking of processes, if you guys want to aid our process, feel free to hop on over to our
Patreon.
Show some love. You get a lot of behind-the-scenes content. You can see some of the shenanigans that go on in the studio, some of the studio guests, and a little bit of their input. Some live Q&A sessions, Ask Me Anything. Lots of cool stuff going on our Patreon, so feel free to head down to the comments below. Check it out. We'd love to see you guys there and appreciate any support. Jeremy, as always, man, thank you for taking the time.
It was my
Yes,
pleasure, guys.
thank you.
Another big thank you to Morisawa-san, the deck here in Honmachi, Osaka, Japan, for giving us this lovely space, providing us the area and really everything so we can get this podcast up and running, showing you guys. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, our social media, all the different places. We've got Hinomaru, we've got Edge Wilderness, Tronex Kabushigaisha, all of our lovely sponsors, and we will see you guys next time on the Kansai Collective. Peace.
Kansai Kollective. West side of Japan, we out here coolin', and the next got